Zabarny. It was Pau Kubarsi was trying to mark him, couldn't do so. And the Ukrainian just putting his header over the bar. Now Barcelona have gone short with a goal kick and have put Jules Koundé under unnecessary pressure. The French international just deflects that one out eventually off of Bradley Barcola. So throw in Barcelona deep on the right hand side, but nodded back in there by Fabian Ruiz. Now Vitinha picks it up. There was concern for him after the weekend, but just a knock and he's able to shake that one off. Zabarny now to Hakimi on the right hand side, just on halfway. Now Mbaye. Vitinha under pressure from Pedri, so goes back to Pacho, midway inside his own half. William Pacho. Nuno Mendes, that in-swing whipping corner through the middle now for Mayulu is the onside. He's split between Kubarsi and Garcia, though the latter of those has pushed him out left. Tries to go past Garcia at the byline, does Seni Mayulu, but his path blocked. And Barcelona, though, trying to pass away out of danger and almost passed away into trouble. Still not out of it. Olmo gives Koundé a bit of a hospital pass, and eventually Eric Garcia says enough of this and just hammers that one downfield. That's back with Nuno Mendes under pressure from Yamal, so he'll just go back to the edge of his box to his goalkeeper Chevalier. Right, for Ruiz. Over halfway. PSG starting to go through the gears here. Here's Mbaye. Zaire Emery to Ruiz on the right hand touchline. Now Hakimi clips one over the top. Here's the onside. Mbaye doesn't matter. Szczesny comes out of his goal. And Ruiz was trying to follow his own pass through there, and Szczesny had to come out and deal with it. Throw into PSG on the right, just on halfway, but Marcus Rashford thought he had been fouled there, nothing doing. Lamine Yamal mentioned that piece of trickery earlier. In between Vitinha and Bradley Barcola. Now here's Barcola on the ball on the left touchline, left corner of the penalty area. Gives it to Nuno Mendes, who's go forward, clips one in there, and it's cleared away before Hakimi could get on the end of it in the box. Now Rashford to Pedri, midway inside his own half. Pedri looks for options, goes back to the edge of the box for Kubarsi. Now De Jong. Olmo, nice touch away as Zabarny stepped out of defence there to try and get to him. Now here's Yamal, passes outside the boot through the middle for Ferran Torres. Torres goes round Chevalier, narrow angle, what a block by Zabarny, and Chevalier gets the loose ball. Superb goal line block by Ilya Zabarny to bail out Paris Saint-Germain. A brilliant ball the outside of the boot from Lamine Yamal. Ferran Torres timed his run to perfection, going round Chevalier, and it was a narrow angle, but had to go at his mercy. But Ilya Zabarny slides in, and the PSG goalkeeper is the quickest to react to the loose ball. Big chance for Barcelona, snuffed out by Ilya Zabarny. Still goalless here, 15 minutes gone at the Estadio Olympique Luis Companys. And here's Pacho now, back to his goalkeeper Chevalier, who will be breathing a sigh of relief. He came out to try and meet that with Ferran Torres, but the former Valencia and Manchester City forward just nicked that around Chevalier. Let's have a look, was he onside? He was, certainly. He split in between William Pacho and Ilya Zabarny, but it's really smart defending from Zabarny. When he realised he wasn't going to get to Torres, he just hung back, went towards the goal line, and a sliding block with his boot that could so easily have gone between his legs or under his foot, but just timed to perfection, killed the ball stone dead, and Chevalier reacted. Now Barcola trying to get in the end of Mayulu's ball. Advantage played as he was trying to be stopped there by Eric Garcia. Barcola has now been dragged to the ground by Eric Garcia, and the referee says nothing wrong with that. Well, that's a strange one from Michael Oliver. Garcia had a couple of nibbles there at Barcola, and the first one an advantage was played. The second one I thought surely was a free kick, but nothing doing, says our English official. Now here's Kubarsi, midway inside his own half for the Blaugrana. Right on to the right for Yamal. Faced up by Mendes, but he plays a nice ball through the middle for Olmo, who gets beyond Ruiz. Dani Olmo cuts it back, well blocked by Pacho with Torres waiting in the middle. And Ruiz will run it out of defence for PSG. And now here they come on attack now with Mayulu. Down the left for Barcola, and even at his pace that one's too long. So throw into Barcelona on the right hand side. Barcola gives Mayulu a thumbs up there. Just look at that ball again from the outside of the left boot from Yamal. And Torres just a hair quicker than Chevalier. And it's one of those ones in hindsight you look at. Had Torres gone down, that's almost a certain penalty, but he was determined to go for goal. He skipped over the diving Chevalier, only to be denied by the sliding Zabarnyi. Now here's Garcia, midway inside his own half for Barcelona. Through the middle now, route one there from Barcelona, looking for Rashford, but it'll just go too long, and Chevalier can get on that one and bowls out overarm like a cricket bowler to Hakimi and Isaiah Emery. Mayulu. Now Olmo wins it back for Barcelona on the halfway line. Pedri. Back to Koundé. Garcia to Kubarsi, midway inside his own half. Deflected. One back there, deflected off of Mbaye. Now he gets it back from Vitinha, right corner of the penalty area. Ibrahim Mbaye takes on Gerard Martin. Good challenge from Martin, who that last touch come off. The lines was not sure, so Michael Oliver says, I'll give it for you. That's a corner. Good strong running by Ibrahim Mbaye, but Gerard Martin getting back well, and indeed, yep, the last touch comes off the Barcelona fullback. So corner kick. It's going to be another left-footed in-swinger from Nuno Mendes. His last one was a good one that Ilya Zabarnyi met, but couldn't keep his header down. So a left-footed in-swinger from Mendes. Another good one. Oh, it goes to the back post. But it's too long for Barcola, and will bounce out for a goal kick on the far side. So Luis Enrique, as I said, was the manager here from 2014 to 2017. Well, it was at the Camp Nou then. We thought by this stage this game would be being played at the Camp Nou, but still Barcelona's spiritual home not yet complete. And despite putting in an application, they wanted to play some of their games at the partly complete stadium. They weren't allowed by either Spanish Football Federation or UEFA. Terrible pass there by Vitinha, picked off by Yamal. Now Pedri approaching the penalty area. Pedri out to the left side of the penalty area. Rashford for Torres. If he's onside, he's finished. I think he's offside. Ferran Torres, maybe not. Barcelona have the lead here. It is Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 0, and it's Ferran Torres who finishes it. A lovely one-touch move. The last touch coming from Marcus Rashford to Ferran Torres, who slides it home. And Barcelona have the lead here over Paris Saint-Germain. After Torres had his effort cleared off the line, there's nothing PSG could do with that one. I thought the offside flag was coming there. Perhaps VAR may still bail out PSG, but it was Vitinha who gave that ball away to Yamal midway inside the PSG half. He put it on to Pedri, on to Rashford. He was certainly onside, and yet Torres is onside. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. That's just poor defending from Paris Saint-Germain. It's Achraf Hakimi who comes out to try and block Rashford's cross that ends up playing Torres onside. It's really, really smart play from Rashford to play that first time. Torres reacted, got away from Pacho, who immediately looked to the linesman to bail him out, but there was to be no flag coming. And it is the hosts who lead here, as they look to continue their strong run in the group and league phase of the Champions League. They have unbeaten in 11 of their last 12 home games at this phase of the competition. And Luis Enrique, well, we come into this here talking about those missing in attack, but it was his defence who let him down there. And it was all too easy. Given away by Vitinha. Yamal to Pedri to Rashford to Torres. Lovely quick football from Barcelona. And now where's Yamal trying another one of those balls the outside of the boot, but Nuno Mendes read it this time. And that's going to be a free kick to PSG as Ferran Torres slid into Fabian Ruiz. He tried to win that one back. So that's his first goal in the Champions League, as of course Marcus Rashford scored both in the 2-1 win away to Newcastle on match day 1. Here's Zabarnyi. And that's going to, not the way PSG would have wanted, but that's going to continue a quite incredible record for PSG, who with that game against Atalanta on match day 1 meant that was 100 games since a Champions League game involving PSG finished goalless, and we're not going to have another one tonight That's a strange ball from Mendes across to the opposite fullback Hakimi, who just about keeps it in. Now here's the ball out to the right for Hakimi on the halfway line. Clips on forward looking for Mayulu. It's too long for him and Kubarsi, and Koundé calmly nods that one back to Szczesny, who has been largely untroubled in the opening 22 minutes. That header I mentioned from Zabarnyi was over the bar. He hasn't really had a save to make, and Luis Enrique will want more of it aside. It is a makeshift front three, but it's to still have the quality in there, as Pacho will retrieve that one before Torres and send it back to Chevalier. Now Mendes. Another stat that will not please PSG fans is that only 2 of their last 17 games have seen both sides score. And if they want anything from this tonight, they're going to have to change that one. That's down the right hand touchline for Mayulu. Now Hakimi back to Vitinha, whose loose pass started that goal for Barcelona. Zabarnyi, good strong play there from Mbaye. Still going, Ibrahim Mbaye, and he finds Barcola on the left. Really good work there from the 17-year-old. Now Barcola outside of the boot tries the Yamal pass, blocked by Koundé, spinning away, and Koundé puts the shoulder into Barcola and sends him flying. But that's a free kick for, or sorry, a throw in for PSG. Barcola lost his boot in the process. That was a real meaty shoulder there from Jules Koundé into his French international teammate Bradley Barcola. Now here's Nuno Mendes with a throw in for PSG, roughly around 15 yards from the byline on the left hand side. He's looking for options, but none really appearing, and Lamine Yamal standing in front of him saying to the referee, how long has he got here? You know, as Mendes eventually goes backwards to Pacho, and now Zabarnyi. Right to Hakimi on the right on the halfway line, the captain. Mbaye, who looks for a Ruiz, well picked off there by Olmo. Now here's Yamal, has Koundé running ahead of him, but runs himself into a bit of a cul-de-sac there. Lamine Yamal looks for a free kick, it's not coming. Now Ruiz in behind for Barcola, left hand side. Bradley Barcola, oh, he's overran that one. Oh dear me, Bradley Barcola at the worst possible time with an uncharacteristic heavy touch, and in the end he can't keep it in. It's a goal kick for Barcelona, and Lamine Yamal is off the hook there. He was at fault there, a very loose pass. Well, he actually ran himself into trouble more than a loose pass, but then Barcola, he was from a narrow angle, but he couldn't even give himself an option of a shot with his heavy touch, overrunning the ball. Now here's Martin to Olmo. Koundé lets it run. Yamal, Koundé powering forward past Yamal. Barcola trying to get back to him, and does. Sliding challenge from Bradley Barcola, throw into Barcelona on the right hand side. Koundé looking for that ball quickly. We've played 25 minutes here now. Koundé with a throw into Yamal on the edge of the box. Yamal, nice 1-2 with Torres, well read by Pacho, and PSG can come away now with Nuno Mendes, who sends it forward left-footed. Good header one by Martin, out above Mbaye. Now Rashford, left corner of the penalty area, faced up by Zaire Emery. Rashford to the edge of the box, under his right foot. Pedri has no space to shoot. Twists, turns, still going. Pedri still going, but runs into a couple of white shirts. They can't clear. De Jong beats Mbaye to it, but the ball's loose, and Pedri has to send it all the way back to Szczesny midway inside his own half. But Hansi Flick, his side, have kept the ball here, and they lead PSG. After 25 minutes, you're listening to live Champions League action. I have one flash score official here with me, Mark Strange. Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 0. Nice touch from Pedri, back to Yamal and Koundé and Pedri. Barcelona are really going through the gears here nicely. Pedri back to the edge of the box for Olmo, left foot strike. Olmo deflected wide. Had Chevalier scrambling there, but just wide of the post. But it's a corner kick for Barcelona, and they really are clicking up through the gears here. Barcelona playing some nice stuff, and PSG are struggling to keep up with them at times. Pedri has ended up on the ground there with a bit of stuffing knocked out of him. He had Warren Zaire Emery for company. I'm not quite sure what happened to him, but almost strike, taking deflection off the knee of William Pacho. Chevalier was diving, I think he had it covered, but past the post anyway. So Lamine Yamal to take this corner. Pedri looks to be okay again, whatever blow he took there. So this could be the The star boy for Barcelona, Lamine Yamal, right hand in the air, left-footed in-swinging corner. That's a good one, but away by Zabarnia. Michael Oliver, though, has seen something he doesn't like in there anyway, and he's summoning a couple of players towards him. Frankie de Jong just basically standing on Lucas Chevalier's toes, and the PSG goalkeeper gave him a bit of a, I wouldn't say a shove, but certainly a hands in the back to say get away from him, and de Jong falling to the floor, and then shows the referee the two hands and say, "You pushed me, Mr. Referee, sir, that's why I fell over." And the two immediately go back to where they were. So Michael Oliver will have to keep an eye on them again. And again, Chevalier this time is sort of leaning into de Jong, saying, "Look, referee, I can't get near the ball." Yamal gets it in there anyway, it's bobbling around, and it's away by Zabarnia in the 6-yard box, drilled in by Rashford, and again cleared by Zabarnia. Another goal line clearance from the Ukrainian. It's still bobbling around. Zabarnia, that was lucky. Him and Garcia went for the same ball, and Garcia has ended up in a crumpled heap on the ground in the box. No penalty given, and PSG are breaking. Now Barcelona are man down at the back. Down the right-hand touchline, this time goes Bradley Barcola. Inside for Mayulu. Left-hand or left-footed shot, deflected, loops up high, and it's going to be a corner for Paris Saint-Germain. But Barcelona are not happy. Ilias Zabarnia, I don't think he saw Eric Garcia coming behind him as he tried to clear that ball. And I think there's a claim here for a penalty, you know, I really do. PSG have a corner as it stands, but we do have a potential penalty check. Michael Oliver has not yet gone to the screen. We've just got the graphic on our screen. And we're going to see here if our English official, no, check over. No, they're happy enough for that one. Oof. Lucky for PSG, but now they have a corner kick of their own. It's going to be a left-footed outswinger from Nuno Mendes. His in-swingers have been good so far. Let's see if he can do it from the other side. In fact, no, it's going to be left for Seni Mayulu, who plays it short to Mendes. Now Mbaye on the left corner of the penalty area. Ibrahim Mbaye, lovely skill. He was fouled there by Rashford on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Rashford immediately putting his hands up. He knew rightly what he had done there to the 17-year-old. Mbaye just rolling that ball past him, going in the gap between Rashford and Olmo, and in the end it was the English international that fouled him. Just as I say, on the left-hand side of the penalty area, we're a couple of inches away from being a penalty there, but it's going to allow PSG a chance to deliver a ball into the box here. See Hakimi and Mayulu, the two standing around this one looking interested, as Michael Oliver makes sure that Barcelona wall is far back it should be. It was Olmo and Rashford who are in that wall. Not beyond the realms of possibility of a shot here. Mayulu leaves it for Hakimi, whips it, and Szczesny has to dive and save to tip it behind. I think that was a shot from Achraf Hakimi, either that or just drilling one across the middle and hoping someone got a touch. But Wojciech Szczesny had to dive full spread eagle to tip that one round the far post, so it's going to be another corner for PSG. So we didn't think it was all going to be one-way traffic, did we? PSG weren't just going to lie down and take this one, so now it's going to be Nuno Mendes take a left-footer in-swinger. Ibrahim Mbaye is over there with him, but Mendes is going to take a left-footer in-swinger. It's a good one. Zaire Emery went up. Good header by Rashford. Vitinha with a lazy volley just looped it back in and never dipped, and that's over the crossbar. So 30 minutes gone. We've played the half hour here now at the Stade Olympique Louis Compange, and it still remains Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 0. And well, I mentioned Pedri was struggling a little bit earlier. He's motioning again. I don't know if it's his ankle or his knee. I think he just overstretched it trying to play a pass earlier. Nothing untoward about it, but as I said about Joao Neves dropping out just before kickoff, that's what Luis Enrique didn't need. Well, Hansi Flick certainly doesn't need any more injuries of his own, as Zaire Emery, who's penalised the foul on Pedri, who's just a little bit gingerly. That's where around Europe, it's not just here that Dortmund's been broken, that the seal has been broken. It's Arsenal who lead Olympiacos 1-0 at the Emirates. Olympiacos actually won their last 3 in a row at the Emirates, quite a record. Arsenal trying to set that one straight tonight. Borussia Dortmund 1, Athletic Bilbao 0. It's still goalless between Bayer Leverkusen and PSV Eindhoven. It's 1-1 between Monaco and Manchester City. Goalless between Napoli and Sporting, and Villarreal lead Juventus by a 1-0. here come PSG on the attack, and that might grin us our first yellow card of the night. It is indeed. Michael Oliver is reaching for his pocket. I think it's going to be for Frankie de Jong as he sides down. I can't quite see who that is riding in pain for PSG. It might be Nuno Mendes actually. It is the fullback trying to sprint away, and de Jong just hacking him down. Had never had a hope of getting near the ball, and that's just about as professional foul can be. But a sore one, I'm sure. He actually ends up standing on Nuno Mendes' ankle as he travels forward. So a painful one for the Portuguese international, and Luis Enrique wants to make sure that Michael Oliver knows all about that one, and his facial expressions show his displeasure. And Mendes is down now. Hopefully that's just a bit of a sore one and nothing more. Again, another injury is not what Luis Enrique needs here. Look to the bench now for PSG. Well, it's a bench that did include Warren Zaire-Emery. Now the goalkeepers Matvei Safonov and Renato Marin. So now Lucas Beraldo, Gonzalo Ramos, Lee Kang-in, Lucas Hernandez, and then two players from the under-19 side, Mathis Jangal and Quentin Njantu. The other two that make up the bench. So not a whole lot of options there, and Nuno Mendes isn't looking happy here at all. I think this might be something a little bit more. He's shaking his head than just a knock. So anyway, we'll see how he goes. For Barcelona, they've got their two goalkeepers, Diego Coca and Eder Aller. Then they've got Alejandro Balde, Ronald Araujo, Robert Lewandowski is on the bench, Andres Christensen, Marc Casado, Marc Bernal, Joffre Torrents, Pedro Fernandez, Rooney Bargi and Tony Fernandez round out the Barcelona bench. But indeed, Nuno Mendes not looking happy at all, not putting a whole lot of weight on that right leg, the one that Frankie de Jong sort of raked his studs, whether he meant to or not, but he ended up raking his studs down Nuno Mendes' right calf onto his ankle and Achilles. It's a sore one. Mendes is going to stay in the game here, not going off to the side of the pitch. That's perhaps a new rule I've missed, but he is going to stay in the game, but we'll see for how long. In the meantime, anyway, PSG have themselves a free kick. Vitinha, right foot delivery, it's a good one. Good header away though by Martin. Drops the edge of the box for Ruiz. Barcola can't get the shot away, and it's cleared. Vitinha keeps it alive to Mendes, the two Portuguese internationals. Vitinha outside of the boot now. Oh well, the ball is the right ball there for Bradley Barcola, but he just wasn't quite, he just wasn't watching really, was he? So you've got 10 minutes plus stoppage time remaining at the end of this first half at the Estadio Olympique Luis Companys, just into UEFA Champions League match day 2 action here as Barcelona lead Paris Saint-Germain by a goal to nil. Jamal overruns that one, throw into PSG on halfway on their left. Goal from Ferran Torres, the difference between the sides. As this makeshift PSG front line have struggled to get anything going. Mendes now take the throw. Long down the line to Mbaye. Cleared by Koundé. Yamal gets in the way, and then Mayulu beats Pedri to one. There's Ruiz. Mbaye back to Mendes. And now Pacho midway inside his own half to Zabarnyi. Both sides just the one shot on target. That's all that Barcelona needed. Now here's Hakimi down the right. Mbaye gets a touch, but it's picked up by Rashford. Now Torres. Koundé in the centre circle, forward to Yamal. Torres make the run, as is Rashford. Left corner of the penalty area is going to be followed there by Zabarnyi. Marcus Rashford cuts on back, blocked by Zabarnyi. He takes a couple of bobbles, and away with it comes Hakimi down the right for PSG. Mbaye to Ruiz. Now Zaire-Emery over halfway for PSG. Out onto the left-hand touchline now for Ibrahim Mbaye. Couple of step overs trying to get past Koundé. Has Zaire-Emery with him. Oh dear, just not linking up well at all there. Pass too long for Warren Zaire-Emery, and Wojciech Szczesny comes out and dives at his feet to get that one, as we see UEFA President Alexander Seferin sitting up there beside the PSG ownership group. Barcelona fans in uproar about that one, I'm sure, but UEFA President is present tonight for what is really the marquee game, not just of tonight, but of the whole of match day 2. Now here's Olmo's in the box, plays it back for Torres, well read by Mendes coming in there to get that one away. Now it's Vitinha, who is uncharacteristic giveaway was the cursor to that Barcelona goal. Here's Zabarni, who did well to clear a Ferran Torres effort off the line earlier before he got his goal. A ball down the line there from Hakimi, looking for Barcola, who he and Mbaye seem to switch wings. Barcola now on the right hand side. There's a long range effort from Olmo with Chevalier out of his goal, but that will never trouble the goalkeeper. A bit of a waste there from Danny Olmo. So Barcelona, as they fell 4-1 the last 2 times that PSG came here, although Barcelona do slightly edge the overall head-to-head, winning 6, drawing 4, losing 5 against the Parisians. They're looking to extend that one tonight, but here comes Nuno Mendes getting forward. He's shaking off that injury. As Mayulu at the middle, Mayulu gets away from Kubarsi. Mayulu, there's the equaliser. Just as I was saying that there, it's Seni Mayulu who levels for Paris Saint-Germain with 38 minutes. And this game is right back in the balance again. And the visitors, their away sector is going mad here. At Barcelona, Jules Koundé beating all ends up there. Brilliant work in the build-up from Nuno Mendes, who, as I said, has shaken off that knocky, going to the end of Ibrahim Mbaye's flick on, and a slip at the wrong time from Pau Kubarsi, allowing Seni Mayulu to get in on goal, and a left-footed finish past Wojciech Szczesny means it is 1-1 now between Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. Brilliant work from Nuno Mendes, coolly finished by Mayulu, who, as I said, played in the weekend in midfield against Auxerre. He would be by trade a midfielder, but with the injury crisis that PSG are facing, playing through the middle tonight, and he has well and truly repaid Luis Enrique's faith. So as we approach half time now, 6 minutes plus stoppage time to the break, as Barcelona 1, Paris Saint-Germain 1, Seni Mayulu cancelling out Ferran Torres' opener. We've got a game in our hands. Yamal, good ball down the line for Koundé, who gets the better of Mendes himself this time, though. Nuno Mendes gets back in position, but Koundé finds Olmo on the edge of the box. Torres holding off Pacho, nice back heel, but Vitinha beats Olmo too, but he's still inside his own box here. Vitinha gives it to Hakimi, he's under pressure from Rashford, back to Zabarni on his own byline, and eventually the Ukrainian says that's enough and clears away. Vitinha, looks suspicious like a hand, but away he goes, and well, Ibrahim Mbaye is adjudged to foul Gerard Martin there, but I think it was more of Martin ran into Mbaye, but a free kick nonetheless just inside the Barcelona half for the hosts, given by Michael Oliver. Brilliant run by Nuno Mendes. Well, the ball may not make it to Ibrahim Mbaye if it weren't for Pau Kubarsi's slip, but whenever it did get to the youngster, the 18-year-old, he finished well. Back with Szczesny now. This front three now for PSG. Bradley Barcola is the elder figure in it at 23. Mbaye 17, Mayulu 18. Now here's a clip in to the back post for Mbaye. Koundé got a touch on that one. That was risky. Took that one on the chest, Jules Koundé. And now Yamal will come away with it. Barcola, say 23. Seni Mayulu 18. And Ibrahim Mbaye 17. PSG going with the youngsters here this evening. That's where Europe says still, as we approach half time, and still Arsenal 1, Olympiacos 0. Borussia Dortmund 1, Athletic Bilbao 0, Bayer Leverkusen 0, PSV 0, Monaco 1, Man City 1. Napoli have taken the lead over Sporting 1-0, and Villarreal lead Juventus 1-0. So there's goals almost everywhere in Europe. After the first 10-15 minutes brought us none. So we have 2 here, 1 apiece between Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. Seni Mayulu cancelling out Ferran Torres' openers. Pacho goes route 1 there and finds Barcola. Barcola now outnumbered by blue and red shirts. That's not going to face him. Barclay's in the box on his left foot. Oh, he got over Szczesny but couldn't keep it down. It just wouldn't drop. That would have been a super individual goal from Bradley Barclay. As I say, he was outnumbered there at least 3-1, maybe even 4-1. And he shifted that ball so quickly onto his left foot. There's nothing Gerard Martin could do. And you can see he was trying to do, he just lifted over the onrushing Szczesny and into the roof of the net, but he just got a bit too much, caught it a bit thick. If it was a golf shot, he just caught it a bit too much to the club on that one, Bradley Barclay. And the spinning ball just wouldn't drop in time. Now here's Mendes. Zaire Emery to Mbaye on the left touchline. He's been really lively, Ibrahim Mbaye. Still going, gets to the byline. He cuts that one back to the edge of the box. Ruiz is going to come to Barclay here on the edge of the box, overlapping Hakimi from a narrow angle. Good block by Martin. Throw into PSG around 10 yards from the byline. That one just wouldn't sit up for Fabian Ruiz. Bradley Barclay, though, kept it alive behind him. Now Vitinha to Hakimi on the right hand side, approaching the middle of the park. Hakimi goes back to Pacho in the centre circle. Now Mendes to Mbaye, back to Mendes, who almost sells Pacho short. Torres was rushing in there, and well, this has been a half of two halves really. Barcelona had the better of the first half of it, but as we approach half time, all momentum the way of the Parisians, the current European champions, who, if they were to win by 4 or more goals tonight, would become the first ever side to win 3 straight European games by 4 goals or more, of course, including the final last year, 5-0 against Inter, before starting this year 4-0 against Atalanta. And if they were to win today, they become the first team to beat Barcelona 3 times in a row in Barcelona in the Champions League. That's going to be a yellow card there for Nuno Mendes for bumping Lamine Yamal off that ball on the touchline. So that's now a yellow card apiece for both of these sides. Perhaps that one, the foul in itself, maybe we'll get another look at it now. It's a shoulder to shoulder. Yamal certainly felt the full force of Nuno Mendes' shoulder there. I think it was all the momentum was going through the Portuguese man. I don't think that foul in itself really warranted a yellow, but so it was just Mendes as the victim of multiple fouls there. So here's Kubarsi to Martin now in the left touchline just inside the PSG half. Gets it back from Rashford into the last minute of the 45 here. We'll see very shortly what sort of added time Michael Oliver thinks we should have. Here's Eric Garcia now to Koundé on the right hand side. Barcelona inside their own half. Yamal on halfway, twists and turns away from Mendes. We'll have to be careful going forward. Nuno Mendes is going to be tough enough, and he's fouled Yamal again. And already on a booking now. You can see a bit of a glint in Lamine Yamal's eyes. He knows no matter how good a defender Nuno Mendes is, he's got him walking a tightrope here now for what remains of the first half and all of the second half, and with not many defensive options on the bench. Well, he's got centre half options, but Lucas Hernandez is there. Maybe Luis Enrique might think of a change and bring on the experienced French international Hernandez, with Mendes walking that tightrope, and particularly as he was limping a little bit earlier. Here's Pedri now to Rashford. And again back out to Rashford. Those two combining well. 2 minutes of added time. We're into that now. Rashford now in the left touchline. Oh, skips past the Barney Dewsley in the box. Rashford, and it's Pacho coming across there with both Torres and Olmo trying to throw themselves at that one, but it was the Ecuadorian William Pacho who slid in to put it behind for a corner for PSG. Brilliant skill from Rashford. Just a bit of a body swerve to get him past the Barney. Olmo and Torres both coming in there, and Vitinha taken out of the way of the cross. It was vital that Pacho came across there. So corner it is for Barcelona as we're into stoppage time now at the end of this first half. A right-footed in-swinger from Marcus Rashford. He whips it right in, and so close as into the side netting. You can see he was really trying to whip that one into the front post there, but just too close, and ultimately that's a bit of a waste from the England international. As I said, is on loan from Manchester United, still technically a United player, although he spent the second half of last season on loan at Aston Villa. He hasn't been a Manchester United player regularly now, and probably this time last year really. Barcelona, with their financial situation, weren't able to fully purchase him from Manchester United, so certainly his future beyond the end of the season is still very much up in the air. A local boy, Marcus Rashford, things seem to have gone sour for him at United, although everything seems a bit sour at Manchester United these days, so perhaps he shouldn't take it personally. De Jong looks for him through the middle. Pacho gets there, but now Pedri picks up the loose ball and puts his head down, runs to the penalty area. Yamal, right-hand corner of the penalty area. Yamal, Torres, back to goal, back to Yamal in the box. Yamal gets a shot away, blocked. And sliding challenge by Zaire Emery, but Eric Garcia gets it to Pedri. And now Yamal, is there one last chance in this for Barcelona? He stumbles his own feet there, but he keeps it live with Koundé. And now Pedri on the right touchline. Yamal. De Jong's in space there. He looks for the return of Pedri. A good challenge there by Mendes. Had to be in the box and on a yellow. And he's fouled by Frenkie de Jong. And that will do us for the first half here at the Estadio Olympique Luis Companys. A really enjoyable first 45 minutes that swung back and forth. Ferran Torres giving Barcelona the lead just before the 20-minute mark. They were in charge at that point, but Seni Mayulu getting the leveler with less than 10 minutes before half-time, and we have ourselves a game finally in the balance here. Do not go anywhere. You'll want to listen to the rest of this second half. But for now, I'm off to make myself a cup of tea. You do so as well. Sure, enjoy the break here at half-time, whereas Barcelona 1, PSG 1.
Now Busquets, just 10 minutes to go. De Jong, Sergio Busquets. Promising attack launched by Sergio Busquets. Playing it in, keeping it low. Aware of the threat, solving the problem. Now Busquets. Just been a thoroughly cogent and convincing performance in this match, Lee.
Well, this Barcelona team make creating and scoring goals look easy. I can tell you it's not. It's the heart.
Promising looking ball. It's come off the keeper. Counter-attacking, very much an option. He's failed to hold it, Neymar. Not much defensive cover there on the flank. De Jong. That's a fairly easy save for any keeper to make. Well, that's all for this game, and Barcelona off to a flying start. 3 points from their initial match in the Champions League.
Well, it's everything you want from the start of match one. Good, strong start. That result will give everybody confidence, especially the players. Well done.
Fruitful night for Luis Suarez. Lee, tell us what you saw in his performance.
Well, he played well, scored a goal. What a good performance from him.
It's the opening match day. Champions League group stage, match day 1 underway. Di Maria. Surely. And the shot decidedly lacking accuracy.
Well, he had other options as well, but he chose to shoot.
Sergio Roberto. And can he deliver accurately? Oh, it's gone in! And you have to feel for him now. It will go down as an own goal. It's there for him. And Luis Suarez with the goal here. Messi. Well, the shot from that position left a bit to be desired.
You've just got to hit the target. Let the power down a little bit and go for accuracy.
Promising sequence. Being pursued furiously. The effort, though, nothing to write home about, really.
No, I think you give the credit to the defender there.
Here's Mbappe. Mbappe! Wide of the target, and he's going to be disappointed.
Disappointed.
Griezmann. And the goalkeeper will sink. Barca's corner. Being pursued. Here's Mbappe.
Took advantage of slip from Barkley to finish calmly one-on-one with Wojciech Szczesny. That's a throw in now to PSG on the right as Eric Garcia comes across to make the challenge on Seni Mayulu, the 18-year-old, who's up front tonight with Bradley Barco, the 23-year-old, and Ibrahim Mbaye, the 17-year-old. So the young front three for PSG. They're missing, arguably you'd say, their starting front three. The Ballon d'Or winner Ousmane Dembele still not fit enough to play against his former side tonight. Desiree Doué also missing, while Kvicha Kvaratskhelia went off injured against Auxerre on the weekend. Here's Vitinha, left corner of the penalty area. There's a delivery in and away by Martin. That was Ruiz trying to get that one in. Frankie de Jong now to Yamal. And now Olmo plays one out left for Rashford to chase, but it's going to take one bounce off the turf and out for a throw in, even too long for Hakimi. Who the bench is outfield wise anyway for Barcelona. They've Alejandro Balde, Ronald Araujo, Robert Lewandowski lurks on the bench for Barcelona. A bit of a surprise to see him drop this evening. He had his injury struggles at the start of the season, but has come back recently and scored 2 and 2, but he's had a miserable time against PSG, only 1 and 5 for the usually predatory pool. But now Ferran Torres was brought back in to start up front, and that one worked okay for Hansi Flick, so I'm sure he feels justified in his decision and has Lewandowski as a weapon up his sleeve. He's on the bench, as is Andres Christensen, Marc Casado, Marc Bernal, Geoffrey Torrens, Pedro Fernandes, Rooney Bargi and Tony Fernandes. And for PSG they have Lucas Beraldo, Gonzalo Ramos, Lee Kang-in, Lucas Hernandez, the two under-19 players, Mathis Jonjal and Quentin Injantu are the options for Luis Enrique. They did originally have Joao Neves down to start, but he pulled out late in the warm-up meeting. Warren Zaire-Emery was drafted in from the bench. The PSG have a man down on the bench. There's Eric Garcia, good challenge there, and Barcola to win it back, but that's given away by Pedri to Hakimi. Ruiz tries to flick that one through, claims a handball against Eric Garcia, falling deaf ears. Our referee is from England tonight, Michael Oliver. He'll be known to Premier League fans. Frankie de Jong trying to get away from 2 white shirts, goes back to Wojciech Szczesny, all in green. Joan Garcia is still missing, as is Marc-Andre ter Stegen for Barcelona, who are missing some players of their own, including Gavi's a long-term miss, and Rafinha still not fit enough to play. Back to Lucas Chevalier, all in yellow with the PSG goalkeeper this evening. Elsewhere in Europe, by the way, the early kickoffs finished Karabakh 2, FC Copenhagen 0, and Newcastle bouncing back from their matchday 1 defeat to Barcelona, winning 4-0 in Belgium against Union Saint-Gilloise. Chevalier under pressure there from Torres, gets out on the right for Hakimi, wearing the captain's armband tonight. They're also missing Marquinhos among their other injuries. And the other 8 o'clock kickoffs, with 2 other live fixtures, including the Premier League side tonight. It's Arsenal 1, Olympiacos 0, and Monaco 1, Manchester City 2. You can hear both of those live commentaries here this evening. It's also Borussia Dortmund 2, Athletic Bilbao 0, Bayer Leverkusen and PSV still goalless. There's Napoli 1, Sporting 0, and Villarreal 1, Juventus 1. So that's how we stand on match night 2 of the Champions League, as Pedri comes forward, goes over the outstretched leg of Ruiz. Now Koundé, right corner of the penalty area, short pass to Yamal, who thought he was clipped there by Ruiz. Now Koundé thought he was clipped by Mbaye, but neither go penalising Michael Oliver. Here's Frankie de Jong. Now Koundé goes back to Garcia, the former Manchester City youngster, Eric Garcia, who was drafted in. He and Pau Cubarsí back in for Ronald Araujo and Andres Christensen, who started the weekend 2-1 La Liga win over Real Sociedad. Barcelona are top of the early table, 6 wins and a draw out of 7 games, seeing them a point ahead of Real Madrid, who of course had that shock heavy 5-2 defeat in the Madrid derby. The Atletico at the weekend. There's a handball by Ferran Torres. Tomorrow night, by the way, we have a big slate of Europa League and Conference League action for you. No fewer than 6 commentaries tomorrow evening, starting with 2 early kickoffs: Celtic against Braga in the Europa League and Dynamo Kiev against Crystal Palace in the Conference League. But here comes Mbaye for PSG. Lovely footwork in the box and just couldn't get his shot away. He's claiming it might have been a push from Eric Garcia, not so. He just had a bit of a scuffed effort that Szczesny could have threw his cap on if he was wearing one. Good build-up from the youngster Ibrahim Mbaye, but he was strong to get past Jules Koundé, left him in his wake. He tried to maybe just do one twist too many past Eric Garcia, and then he just sort of scuffed it with the studs, and easy save for Szczesny. So after those 2 early games tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, we have another 4 games. 3 from the Europa League. Let's see, Nottingham Forest take on Midtjylland, Feyenoord v Aston Villa, and Sturm Graz v Rangers. And then the Conference League, let's see, Shamrock Rovers travel to the Czech Republic to take on Sparta Prague. Also in action tomorrow night for a British and Irish perspective, Aberdeen are away to Shakhtar Donetsk in the Conference League. A tough one for Aberdeen, struggling in domestic action. Another Irish side, Shelbourne, at home to Hacken. Now here's Bradley Barcola on the right hand corner of the penalty area, faced up by Gerard Martin. Couple of step wars. Oh lovely, Barcola on his right foot hits one straight at Szczesny, who just ate that one, palms it away. Now it's going to come for Zaire Emery, who drills it across the box. Barcola again, de Jong gets a foot in to hook it away. Not fully cleared yet. Hakimi will get to it. Pedri is there with him, but Hakimi will go inside to Vitinha. Vitinha to Mendes. And now Mbaye on the left corner of the penalty, and Mendes continues his run, but Mbaye ignores him and goes back inside to Vitinha. Zabarnyi, who had a superb